Hey everyone, welcome to The Gig, a series about film and TV from behind the scenes and on the screen. We are your hosts, Leyla
and Jessica Ransom.
And today we are interviewing Samuel María Gómez.
Yes. Samuel is first-generation Afro Dominican American actor, writer, producer, hailing from New York City. He most recently known for his work at Netflix, The Punisher Season 2, Madam Secretary, Elementary, and recently had a recurring role on Beauty and the Baker.
He has appeared in Law and Order SVU and Fox's Prodigal Son. He is also credited with writing and producing the shorts Lucid and the Spectacular Tito Garcia.
Wow. Thank you, Samuel.
That made me feel so special. Thank you so much. I didn't even expect that kind of welcome. Jeez.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Yes. So we just want to hear right now, tell us like your origin story. How did you get into acting? Like give the viewers a little bit about you.
Well, my origin story is I'm a kid from the Bronx. Yeah. As far as, I was born here in the Bronx, moved around a little bit in my youth, and then wound up back here in my mid-20s to pursue acting. It was something that kind of just fell on me like a little voice. A lot of my life seems to go that way. And I just went with it. And now I'm here with you guys doing an interview. So just to kind of condense it, I got into acting because a friend of mine told me I should do it. I went to college for business. Arts wasn't really an option for me and my siblings or any of us. Like, we didn't have parents that pushed us towards those kind of things. It was more like, go to school, get your education, go to work. Right when I got out of college and I was in between from graduating to trying to find a job, and what I would do with the rest of my life, right around then, a friend offered me a little role in his music video, and I caught the bug. That's what they call it in my industry. I caught the acting bug then. Everyone around me was like, hey, you should try this. And I was like, yeah, I should try it.
All right.
I mean, acting is a very competitive field. So can you tell us a little bit about your first big break, any past projects or shows that you worked on that really got you grounded into the industry?
Yeah. That's so fun that just hearing that phrase, your big break, right? Like I think from the outside in, people understand it in a certain way. Like there is a pivotal moment in every actor's career where you go from like one thing to everybody knowing who you are, and I think that's what everybody considers the big break. And I think for an actor, it's accumulation of a bunch of little breaks. So. I can't say that I've had my big break. What I can say is that I've had a lot of fortune so far in my personal journey that have continued to confirm that I'm on the right path. And a bunch of little breaks, and it's always right when I need them too. Even if it's like some little short film, it's not a crazy amount of money, but it's a great confidence booster. I've always. The universe has always looked out for me right when I need it. So, I've had some recent work recently, and I think a big break for an actor is being able to be represented and being able to get in rooms and audition, because that's the work. I think auditioning, being able to go into a room and present what you have to offer. I think that's where the work lies. At least that's what I wound up learning. The final product, especially on TV, you get on set and they direct you towards what they want. Film's a little different, but I think the work is in the hustle of being able to get out there and have the opportunity to succeed. And so in that sense, it's just accumulation of a bunch of little breaks that I hope continues, so.
Amazing.
I answered your question, but.
Yeah. No, you definitely did. So another question for you is, I know in the casting and audition process, a lot of POCs say they have dealt with like racist experiences. They also say some of the character descriptions are a little racist. Have you experienced racism in casting? And have you read a script that you were just like, nah, this isn't for me. I'm not really feeling this character at all?
Yeah. I will say that that's a great question. I will say that my journey so far has been one of slow progression in certain senses. So I'm not always in the position to kind of say no to work. You know, like if it comes in, I'm going to be seen. So I've had to do the shift for me has been in switching my perspective, and understanding, you know, that there's just certain things that work certain ways. And me trying to fight against the machine at this stage of my career really does nothing for no one. You know, I think great examples of that in their industries are people like Oprah and Michael Jordan, who a lot of people kind of put down for never speaking up, for never speaking out. But really what they were doing is playing the game and getting themselves in a position of power where Michael Jordan's the only athlete in the world who can give $100 million to a cause. Everybody else can talk a big game, but now Mike's in the position to be a big game. And so as far as, and that's a very extreme example, but I only said it because I've kind of approached it that way. I know I'm going to be stereotyped. I know I'm going to be typecasted. I know, but at the same time, that then the onus is on me to create opportunities where I'm not that. Why am I always going to look to the industry to get me right? I got to get me right. Like they don't get me like I do, you know, and you have to understand that. You have to come to peace with that none of it is perfect, you know, and it probably never will be. So that's kind of how I've justified it over time. I can't say that I've dealt with any like overt racism in the industry thus far. I think it's just all very subtle where, you know, they won't bring you in simply on your look. It's already just by the nature of it, sort of a classist racist system, right? We need a white guy for this role. We need a brown guy for this. It's already set up to be somewhat on some level discriminatory and prejudice. But I think that I've chosen not to look at it that way, only because it doesn't serve me at the moment. And I'm just trying to get to a place where I have enough of a platform that I can influence real change, you know, not broad change. I'm a big picture thinker, if that makes sense.
Actually for you. So you know that Shonda Rhimes does colorblind casting. Have you experienced that in a situation? Because like
what does that mean? Well, I've never heard that. What is that?
Shonda doesn't have race in terms of her casting. She just says looking for a man, looking for a woman.
Amazing.
You know, looking for a trans character. Like she doesn't. Yeah. So I don't know if you've ever had that on set.
Oh yeah, Shonda. That's so dope. You know what? That's cool. Yeah. I'm guessing if she's the one who started that, it definitely has a trickle down effect. Yep. Because I've gotten a bunch of castings where, you know, even my role on Beauty and the Baker, I saw the name, you know, the name of the character was Marlo St. John. And I was like, in my head automatically, because I'm so trained at this point, I was like, they're going to pick a black actor. You know, like they're not going to pick a brown actor. I didn't know that the whole cast was actually Latin at that point. I just went in for the audition. But just the name itself, I was so conditioned. But there's definitely a trickle-down effect where I have gotten several auditions where I walk in and there's a white, an Asian, a black, and me, you know, and we're all getting seen for the same role.
Yeah.
Makes it actually more competitive, but also like, you know, this is the direction we all want to go in, right?
Yeah.
So here we go.
So let's talk quickly about Beauty and the Baker and why has the show been canceled?
Whoa. Damn. I wish anybody on the cast knew why. I haven't really spoken to anybody on the main cast as to why. I can only go by the trends, right? And I've developed my own theories about it. I think it just it's super layered from like willful ignorance. Like they really don't understand that there's a whole segment of the population that this appeals to the money aspect of it. And I think, and this is my personal belief, and I don't know how popular this is going to be or if I should even say this, but I just think that, you know, they learn what industries want is to keep power. And I think they learned from the 90s and 2000s when they gave a lot of Black opportunities, like Martin and Moesha and Family Matters and shows like that were running on TV for multiple seasons till they became kind of part of pop culture and part of the psyche of that time period, right? But the biggest thing that it did is that it opened the doors to a lot of Black writers, Black producers, Black actors who were aging and becoming producers, and then it led it ushered in what we now see, Black Hollywood.
Adding to that, do you think, and this is all subjective, right? But do you think that also white Hollywood or the networks also don't understand really what it is to be Latinx, right? Because it's a multicultural community. And for me, as the viewer watching TV shows, I'm trying to understand if we separate the money situation and the casting situation, at the end of the day, is there a story that's still significant and provides a unified voice that feels reflective amongst many cultures within the Latinx community? Right. So what are your thoughts about that?
I feel like there's a few different parts to that question. And it's funny because this is things that I've been thinking a lot about. So that's why I'm so clear on certain things, but, and they're just opinions. They're not, they're just what I've learned and what I've seen and my experience in entertainment. And then my own experience as an artist trying to make it in entertainment. I think we need to stop worrying about whether they get the Latinx experience. It's very clear, and I keep referring to our brothers and sisters in the Black community because, they've really been able to really create their lane in Hollywood, and they're not going anywhere. I think that happened when they applied the Malcolm X principle, where, it was more about if we just create our own industry, we won't need them. And it's not saying that we won't be sharing the same markets and consumers won't be up to them what they take in. Is that we have to stop worrying about whether white people get us or not. It just, once you do that, then you can just authentically give your experience and let the chips fall where they may. That's the game, and I think too often the Latinx community thinks that being more American means being more progressive, being more, if I just, I know that for a long time, people had a problem with seeing Latinos on TV depicted with a Spanish accent, talking like this, I'm from Washington Heights and whatever. And it's well, why? Don't you go to Washington Heights and hear people talk like that? I know I do. But you want us to be depicted to look closer to white people. Why? We're just as authentic. Go ahead, Jessica.
No, I was saying that we just had another discussion with a Black female vice president of and she said something similar where, we need all types of POCs. We need all types of so this is where I see where people have issues where at that time that was the only depiction was the Washington Heights with the accent. There were no other types of Latinx community roles. There was no Latinx senators. There was no lawyers. It was only the stereotype of that. And that's what I think is, to me, that's how people feel that's a problem. Because it was one role depicted and it wasn't, and the Latinx community is multifaceted. Yes, you do have some of the stereotypes, and then you have the senators, the lawyers, the doctors, as it goes on, and I think that is the big issue. And that's what people had in the beginning was that's the only role that we have. That's ridiculous. We're a whole community,
Yeah. But also you also got to look at it okay, maybe there were Latinx lawyers and doctors but not as many as there are now.
Yeah.
So you got to think for every role on TV, they're representing a segment of the population. So there might have been a great Latinx lawyer in 1997, but now in 2020, there's 50 Latinx lawyers. So now we need to represent it because it's prevalent. Yeah. The reason why it was prevalent before, not all these these Hollywood heads, they have systemic and inherent racism, but they're not being super conscious about it. They're just going by what they see. We know that in those neighborhoods, most people speak with accents, so let's cast an accent guy. You know, like that's how their logic works. It's wrong, but it's a progressive thing. So they've oppressed a lot. You know, it's not. I'm not saying that they haven't gone wrong. It's like for us, if we just, in my personal opinion, if we just switch our thinking to like, well, why are we waiting for these people to authentically represent us? Like, you know, like they're not going to get it. That's what I love about Black Hollywood and the Black community. And, you know, and I'm a huge fan about what culturally shows like Martin and shows like Fresh Prince meant, because they were authentic. That was authentically Black folk being represented in the authentic way. And they weren't changing their speech or the things that they said, you know, and who they represented. They were just going to be. And I think inherently culturally, and it spilled over into the entertainment industry, Latinos have been way too good assimilators for way too long, you know, and that's a deep conversation in the sense of like, you know, Latinos we're the ones still. I think the Asian community has this a little bit where we're dealing with our own biases and views of what is in our own skin colors and our textures of our hair and the way we look and the way we speak, that have existed because we were taught that by our colonizers. Yeah. So it's I think it's you know, they say art reflects life. I think it's very true to our Latinos people's place in the industry. I think we've been assimilating. We've been the help in this country for 30, 40 years. And I think we just want to make white folk happy and not necessarily just like, whatever, what's our stories? Let's tell those stories authentically. Doesn't matter if we need to speak Spanish all the way through, you know, just do it.
I think the lead actress, she's making a big push to bring back Beauty and the Baker. She has a petition that she's getting.
Deserves it, man.
Yeah. And I don't lie to you. I think there's a home on Netflix, because Netflix is, they made it very clear that they're about romantic comedies, romance shows, and about, you know, like multicultural content. So I feel that's where you guys, if you get the petition, that's where you should go. I mean, like, yeah.
I'm just happy to be written into the show. Like wherever it goes, I'll be there. You know, I'm happy. Dude, it was so cool. Come again?
I signed the petition yesterday.
Yeah, you did. That's amazing. Well, I'm hoping for the best for it, because it deserves a second season, man. That just in the casting alone, like literally, like I'm pretty sure, and I hope I don't get this wrong, Michelle is Ecuadorian. Ms. Kelly is Peruvian. Then the father and the brother are Cuban. Victor is Dominican. The sister is Mexican. And the mother is Puerto Rican.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Like, never in my life have I ever seen some stuff like that. And then when I got on set and we were shooting in Puerto Rico, and it spilled into the crew, because you're in Puerto Rico, everybody was Latin and speaking bilingual, speaking Spanish. At the crafty service, they had a freaking asopao, like us, you know, they had, right. I was like, oh my God, this is amazing. And not that I want every set to be like all Latinx. It's just up until that point, I thought that we could be in front of the camera and then white people would handle the rest.
Did it feel like home to you?
Yeah, I mean, a set feels like home in general. You know,
I know what I'm talking about. It felt different.
Yeah, it felt different. It felt new. And it was good to see Latinx PAs and Latinx producers and Latinx grips and a Latinx, PA and a Latinx DP, you know. It wasn't just the cast. It was like the whole team it was very diverse.
So let's talk COVID for a second. Let's switch gears. Yeah. So you know the new mandate out right now that basically says...
No, I don't. I kind of just get I hear shit on the street, and then I don't. What's the new mandate? So
the new mandate, according to LA, in terms of LA production, is no intimate scenes and no fight scenes. So
this is pertaining to the industry?
Yes, because of COVID. Yes. So knowing this now, how do you think production is going to change when you can't, kiss, have sex, you can't fight?
You gotta get creative, man. There's so many ways of intimacy. There's so many ways. Writer's gonna have to figure it out. Because we're not just gonna be like, we're not doing it because we can't have that great sex scene. Like, we're not, action, that sucks. But, what, there's plenty of stories, that's actually, I'm actually happy for that mandate. I'm actually happy for that mandate. Hollywood was getting too reliant on blow-ups and bombs and sex. How about we just tell stories? That's what made the 70s so great and made actors like Al Pacino and Meryl Streep and Robert De Niro blow up. It's because they were getting on a consistent basis and getting to tell stories. Studios like A24 are bringing that style back. But let's do that. Let's do that. I can make 10 films and not have a fight scene or a sex scene and have them be as riveting, as heartbreaking, as heartwarming as you need them to be. So writer's gonna have to figure it out. You're gonna have to figure it out because we need to work. Daddy needs the money.
Speaking of projects, what are you working on right now?
Well, I'm working on staying ready. I think that's the number one. I think any actor has to stay ready. I think that's our job. So whether it's, making sure that I'm getting enough sleep, resting, eating right, meditating, yoga, working out, taking time for myself, reaching out to my friends, getting social distance hugs. I'm just making sure that I'm ready to go. So when it pops off, that's the grind of an actor. And then on a personal front, I've been writing a ton. There's a few scripts that I'm very excited about. I'm in the midst of writing a play and also a big screenplay that I think have a lot of potential. So we'll see where that goes. It's a long-term game, but I think with my first two productions that I managed to get off with Lucid and Tito Garcia, I kind of established that I want to be not just an actor, but one that provides opportunity and looks for a piece of the pie. I'm also working on something else that I'm not ready to announce, but that I think will be really cool for actors. I'm working on a new platform that I think actors will really, really enjoy and appreciate. So just trying to stay busy, trying to stay creative.
Any final thoughts for POCs trying to break into the industry? Any advice for like a young Latinx guy that is on his way?
Quit your job. Stop playing, yo. You either in or you out. Like, you can't, like, this is not, yeah. You either in or you out, and know that means not just like you looking for auditions or you telling people that you're an actor on Instagram. That means like when you wake up every day, are you looking to create a lifestyle that is conducive to your artist? Mm. So, be willing to sacrifice because it's rewarding if it's really for you in the end. I mean, I may not have a lot of money, but God, I love my life, and I love the experiences that I have, and I love the people that I know, including you guys. I don't think if I wasn't an actor, I would ever have, been able to meet people like you guys on the level that I know you. So I think anyone that wants to do this, like if you're gonna go. Don't beat around the bush. Don't, just go, just jump, swim and see where you go.
Leyla, any more questions?
Well, thank you for that, my dear friend. That was amazing.
That was fun.
We do. Thank you. So
that's so much fun.
Yeah,
no justice, no peace, yo. You guys like my shirt?
Yeah.
Someone told me. Someone was a couple people actually, not just one person. They were like, "Oh, don't wear that shirt or say that phrase, no justice, no peace, because you're putting out into the universe no peace." And I'm like, first of all, I'm way more Malcolm than I am Martin, and so like I could totally live in chaos if it means that we're gonna get shit right, like, So I understand where they were coming from in that sense, but in that sense, like I ain't trying to live in a peace where it ain't just for all. So Black Lives Matter. That's what matters.
All right. Thank you, Sam.
Much love. I'll talk to you soon.